So in this video, we're not only going to be talking about Wade Wilson, but also hybristophilia, which is actually a paraphilia, which means that these are people that seem to be sexually aroused and interested sexually in criminal offenders. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So like I say, if this is a video for you, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. And so let's dive right in. So like I've said, I'm talking about Wade Wilson, and really not to be confused with Deadpool here, the character. They couldn't be, well, I mean, any different if you tried. And someone who's a big fan of Deadpool, it's quite frustrating that he's got the same name. So yeah, so Wade Wilson, this is the guy right here. He has been given the death penalty for both of the murders that he has been accused of. And what this video is about is not just talking about Wade Wilson, because there are a lot of people that are discussing Wade Wilson. You know, me doing another video is only going to regurgitate some of the things that are already being said out there. But I really want to focus on why he and a lot of other murderers have fans, have in male criminals, have female fans that romanticize about this type of person. You know, this guy is a murderer, and not just once but twice. And there, you know, if he hadn't have been caught, then there's every chance that he would go on to commit more. So in this particular video, I'm going to discuss, like I've said in the beginning, hybristophilia, which is a sexual attraction to criminals. In my line of work, you know, I've been in this field a very long time, and my sort of speciality, if you like, the thing that's I'm very passionate about is narcissism. And you know, in close proximity to that, we have psychopathy and sociopathy. And when you look at somebody like Wade Wilson, it's not hard to see somebody as a sociopath. And the difficult thing for it in my line of work is when you have to separate your own personal feelings to be professional. You know, I'm not saying that I've ever worked with a sociopath. I haven't. But would I? I mean, that's a difficult question. I mean, when we're doing the training, we're often asked what we would do in that situation if we were presented with a client who was presenting with something that goes against our own moral code. And of course, for the most part, you know, we can say, no, we don't want to work with that person. But I'm also of the belief that if something challenges me, it's not necessarily a good thing to say no. But I find that when trying to understand the behavior of somebody, if all professionals said no when it got difficult, or said no when it was something that really went against our moral code, then we would never find out why people did what they did. Albeit that you've got Wade Wilson, and there are many people sadly like him in the world that are convicted or are even roaming free because for one thing or another. But what fascinates me more is the women and the fans that have come out in regards to how they feel about this guy, completely not even looking at what he's done. Some of them are even seeing him as innocent, but some are looking at the fact that he's guilty and still wanting to be a fan of this guy. So At the moment, he is in Lees County. He's just had his court case and he's got sentencing coming up on July the 23rd. So Florida law states that at least 8 jurors have to vote for the death penalty, which is what they're going for right now. I mean, given the nature of this case and how he brutally murdered these 2 women, you know, I think there's some can argue that even death is too good for this guy. Now, one of the letters that were received was from a woman named Heidi Cox. She's 28 years old. And I'm going to read out the letter that she wrote. And this just gives you a glimpse into the mindset of how some of these women are viewing Wade Wilson. As someone who cares unconditionally for Wade, I have deeply reflected on the gravity of the situation and the impact of your decision. While I understand the severity of the crime committed, I believe that a life sentence would allow Wade the opportunity to reflect, repent, and contribute positively within the confines of prison. Furthermore, a life sentence would provide his family, along with myself, the chance to maintain a relationship with Wade. It would allow us to visit, correspond, and continue to offer emotional support, a privilege that would be lost with the death penalty. Cox then went on to ask the judge to consider the broader implications of your decision on both Wade's life and our family's well-being. Choosing life without parole would not only uphold justice, but also preserve our humanity in a difficult time. She went on to write, we are committed to supporting Wade through this journey of atonement and rehabilitation, wherever it may lead. Now, another letter from somebody called Lindsay Brown of Canada claims, while she has no credentials to speak up on this, she would like Thompson to consider Wilson's issues with mental health and get him treatment. I'm not saying that he shouldn't serve time for the crimes he committed, you know, the brutal crimes where he took 2 people's lives. But I'm not certain that the death penalty would be the best option, albeit that that's what these 2 women have had, death. This will leave Mr. Wilson in a prison system for potentially years waiting, and he will still have mental health issues. He won't fix the problem, and it won't bring back the 2 women he killed. A third letter on July the 8th is from a group of concerned citizens who observed several aspects of Mr. Wilson's trial that raised significant legal and procedural concerns. The author, Marion Worth, outlined 17 concerns ranging from the effects of Wilson's upbringing to his notorious appearance. Mr. Wilson's face tattoos likely resulted from the need to survive in a hostile jail environment. The prosecution's direct attack on Mr. Wilson for his tattoos was an unfair tactic to prejudice the jury against him. So what that basically means is that the jury came to their decision solely, in a sense, based on the fact that he's got tattoos on his face. Nothing to do with the fact that he brutally murdered 2 women. Right, okay. Earlier this week, Richard Gabriel, president of the Los Angeles-based litigation consulting company, told Newsweek about how Wilson's appearance could have impacted the jury. Appearance always has a subliminal effect on the jury. Jurors are always looking at a criminal defendant and evaluating whether he or she looks like the kind of person that would have committed the accused crime. So this gives you a little bit of an insight into what they're trying to portray here. Now, bearing in mind that Wade Wilson's choice to put tattoos on his face. As somebody myself that has tattoos, I think tattoos are subjective to the person. I think it's art. Now, whether you are for them or against them is irrelevant, because at the end of the day, this is about a crime that was committed. Well, no, let's be honest. 2, double murder for these 2 women. And whilst all I'm hearing is this, let's feel sorry for Wade Wilson. Now, don't get me wrong, families involved, which I've spoken about before, I can imagine how difficult for a family of somebody who has been accused and now being given the death penalty, the impact that that's going to have on the family. And in a lot of the research that I've done, it is not always down to family. There have been serial killers, murderers, whatever it is, that have come from a very good background, that have gone on to commit these crimes. I think it's an easy, in a way, get out of jail free card to sometimes blame the family. Now, okay, yes, it does have a place in certain cases. Of course it does. There are certainly certain elements where somebody does commit something and they've come from the most horrendous background. I'm not saying that. But if we're looking at Wade Wilson's case, there is obviously a background there where there have been issues. But at the end of the day, he's a 30-year-old man that, if you're going to look at doing this once, is bad enough. But he then went on to do it again. So there was a part of him that got something from taking the lives of these two women. And what I'm hearing here is this giving him time to atone, time to reflect, but not even looking at the fact that he's taken the life of two women who will never again get to do anything with their lives. Not only that, the families and friends that have been affected by the loss of these two women.
Do you know, or did you know, a young lady by the name of Diane Ruiz?
Yes, that was my mom.
And is there anything that you would like for the jury to consider here today as it relates to this matter?
I wrote a letter.
Could you please be so kind?
My name is Zane Romero. I'm a 19-year-old college student going for my bachelor degree in graphic design. I'm Diane Ruiz's youngest child. I was only 14 years old when she passed. Just starting my freshman year of high school, she was so excited to see me grow up. And so proud of what I was growing into. She supported me in all my dreams and only tried to help and uplift me when taking on new risks and challenges. My father unfortunately passed away when I was only 11 years old. My mother was all I had left. I was barely 2 months into my first year of high school when she passed away. I was in marching band, and the week prior, she was telling me how excited she was to go and watch me perform at that weekend's football game.
And yet we're meant to feel sorry for Wade because he's taken the life of these two women because there's mental health issues. Now, somebody like myself who has trained in this field, there are certain people, I will fully stand up and say that I believe there are certain people that do not want help, that perhaps cannot be helped. I don't buy into the theory of people are born evil. I do know that some people buy into that theory. I don't. Or the people that are depicted as born evil, there is something fundamentally missing from their genetic makeup, and there have been studies that have been done on this. The part of the brain that gives them empathy is fundamentally damaged or missing, and I think that is something that is very, very prevalent in a lot of people that commit these crimes. But the women and the fans that seem to have come out in regards to Wade Wilson, and it is solely down to how he looks. There is a name for this. It's called hybristophilia. Now, some people have said that this is a mental health issue within itself, but actually it comes under the umbrella of paraphilia, which is down as a fetish. So it is a fetish for people to be fascinated, sexually aroused by criminals. And that's why you will get a lot of men and women that will write to male or female criminals in prison, and to some degree even sleep with them or want to marry them. And some go on to actually marrying them. Now, when I look at that, I think there's one or two things. There is something definitely in regards to somebody that wants to have a relationship, but for some reason they look at it from two aspects. One, that they believe that they're the person that can change them. So they have this rescuer kind of attitude to the person, that they believe that they're the ones that can fix their problem, without realizing that actually potentially you could end up being their next victim. But they will refuse to hear anything negative against them. So in regards to his being accused of these two murders, they will believe that he's innocent. They will believe it is a very flawed system. There is something fundamentally wrong with Wade, but that they could fix and heal him if they just have the love of a good woman or the love of a good man. And unfortunately, this in pretty much most cases isn't true. And in all fairness, a lot of these women and men that do this are also have issues with commitment themselves, because it's easy to have a relationship with somebody where you're just writing letters, that you could perhaps just turn up in the prison and get married, but there's no real commitment involved. So that they also have those issues with themselves, so they will have that distancing and disconnect. Now, when I was looking at some of the comments and the videos that I have seen, it was very concerning to me how so many people seem to have this sympathy for him. Like, I saw comments of like, oh, he just looks so sad, he looks broken, he looks like a lost little boy, and really not looking at this guy as a murderer. And when you're looking at somebody that is like this, you're not looking at this person and thinking, you know what, he's killed somebody's mother, he's killed somebody's daughter, he's killed somebody's sister, best friend, cousin. You're not looking at it from that perspective. You're looking at it from a solely sexual, where you're looking at this guy and seeing him as good looking, even regardless of the fact that he's got this these tattoos on his face. And I think a lot of the time it comes down to this bad boy image, especially in women. When women are interested in a bad boy, I think for the most part, it's a bad boy that, he's got an edge, but actually he's got a good heart. So he's a good person, but he's got this tough exterior, but he's like this soft, fluffy puppy underneath. And I think that is an element of what some women who think about a bad boy want. Because actually, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you are not going to thrive on somebody that is cruel, that is mean, that is distant, that doesn't treat you very well. And that's male or female. There is not a person, I believe, that would be in a relationship with somebody like this and be like, do you know what? I'm absolutely thriving. I love this guy. He's the best thing that ever happened to me, and mean it. Now, there are plenty of people out there that pretend, but they're not genuinely meaning the things that they're saying. So when you talk about fantasizing about a bad boy or even a bad girl, for example, there is this distancing between the two. Because the reality of you having a relationship with somebody like this is completely different to the fantasy. And so that is what this is. It is a fantasy in regards to dating a guy that seems a bad boy, but he's incredibly good looking. And a lot of this is down to sex. You're sexually aroused by somebody who you believe is going to be a bit rough around the edges in bed. But the difference being is that this guy is a murderer. He's cruel. He subjected these women to the most horrendous things. And this is what happens with men and women who commit these crimes. You are never going to potentially change this person. So allowing him the chance to atone, to get better, is probably never going to happen. But I think the reality is that, but where is the fairness within that if he's taken the life of two people? One person is bad enough because they don't get the chance to live their life. There is something fundamentally missing behind the eyes. You've only got to look at this guy, and yes, okay, that can come from childhood, it can come from damage, it can come from all of those things, but it doesn't change the fact that he's done what he's done. And when we start to trying to glamorize or normalize this type of behavior, this becomes a problem, because the two women that he took the life from do not get a second chance. They don't get a chance to live their life and the potential that whatever their lives could have led. The people that are left behind, the parents, the children, the friends, the partners that are left with this loss are never going to be the same again. And albeit that they can hopefully come through and heal, they're never going to have the love of, like, the son is never going to have the love of his mother again. You know, the parents are never going to have the love of their daughter again. The life that was potentially lost if any of them were going to go on to have more children. You know, you don't know. We're looking at humanizing somebody that has committed murder and then done it again. I think is very wrong, in my opinion. And like I say, these women that are writing to him, it's, you know, you're looking at, what do you want back? What do you want out of this? You know, I would genuinely be interested in speaking to somebody who really does look at, and I mean, maybe there might be someone in the comments, I don't know, but someone that actually feels sorry for Wade Wilson. You know, I would absolutely, you know, like for someone to say, come on the channel and talk to me about why that they would be interested in somebody like him. Because what I would argue is really take a step back and look at what he's actually done. If you were the parent, if you were the sister, if you were the daughter of one of these women, would you be feeling the same? The chances are absolutely not. This man took the life of two people, and regardless whether you think that there's going to be some atonement or whether he's going to feel bad for what he's done, it doesn't change what he's done. And this argument of, yes, well, it's never going to bring these two back. No, but that's because he took their life. So in my opinion, if you are taking that choice to take someone's life, then in all fairness, your life should match that. Whether it be lifetime in prison, I don't know. The death penalty, I don't know. It's not for me to decide that. But I don't feel that you then have the right to go out and live your life as if nothing's happened, or have people visit you and have all these rights when you've taken that away from somebody else. Well, not just someone, but two people. And so, yeah, I think this fascination for, and it's not just him. I mean, this has happened. There was Chris Watts, who is another person I'm going to be talking about. The guy that murdered his pregnant wife, Shanann Watts, and took the life of his two beautiful daughters in the most vile way. And he gets fan mail. People that feel that he's innocent, even though it's absolutely obvious he did what he did. And he's admitted it. Ted Bundy, another one. Women actually turned up in the courtroom to say how amazing he was, how handsome he was. Richard Ramirez was another one. There has been it's not just Wade Wilson. There's even women. There's been plenty of famous cases where women and men have had fans of, regardless of what they've done. Offers of marriage, being sent gifts. And I think that I mean, it's fascinating to me with my job, but I also find on a personal level, I find it deeply sad that is the way we are. And I think it's one thing to do it privately, if you're going to want to write to somebody privately. But when you're seeing social media now and it's so public, and you're not even having that foresight to think, you know what, I might find him attractive, but I'm out of respect for the women that he murdered, I'm not going to put this out publicly. It's like people have lost, it's like we've become so detached and so desensitized to these criminal acts that we're willing to put posts out publicly with love music, or saying how wonderful this guy is, without any forethought to the family, or these two women that he just took their life. Would they feel the same if it was their mother, sister, daughter? Absolutely not. I do not believe they would at all. But like I say, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that he's innocent even? Do you side with some of these women that think that this guy is a attractive? Do you actually agree with the fact that the tattoos have somehow swayed the jury? I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you're swayed by tattoos and you are taking someone's life because they're wearing some tattoos, you're giving them the death sentence. You're basically saying that 10 people on that jury all decided that it was because of his tattoos, that's the reason he's guilty, regardless of the evidence that was brought against him. I'm not buying that. Maybe 1 or 2 might be, but that still then puts the majority in favor. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. So thank you so much for everybody that's joining this channel. I really do appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, then please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you do not want to miss future uploads. Please bear with me as I'm finding my feet with this channel. I'm really trying to find what works. So there's going to be certain changes along the way as I get my groove into working the best way to do the Coffee and Crime channel. So thank you for all of you who are sticking with me so far. So that being said, I hope you have a great rest of the week and weekend, and I will see you in the next video. So as always, stay safe, stay vigilant, and I'll see you then. Take care. Bye bye.